strut. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, more juicy. Coming up. Yeah. Come on up now. Come on, stop me. Come on. You coming up.
Good evening, everyone. Oh my goodness gracious, it is Tuesday. It's Tuesday already. And guess what? The House of Peach is live. So I'm going to give everyone a little bit of time to come in, to share the broadcast. We're live on YouTube, we're live on 3 Facebook pages at this moment. House of Peach page, my page. Well, I think my page. I don't know. I need to check that. Let me follow up and make sure I'm on my page. I don't see that. But at any rate, we're live. Morgan's on. She's coming in a minute. We have a show for you this evening. And I know we say that every week, but this one is near and dear to me, and it's going to help and bless a lot of people. So if you are coming in, do me a favor. Will you please put something in the chat to say hello? Let us know you're here. Let us know that you are live, that you're with us today. Also, if you have not subscribed to the House of Peach, now would be the time to do so. We need you to subscribe. We want you to keep up with what's going on. And then you will automatically get the notifications. Hey, House of Peach is on. We need to get on here. We need to get on. We need to see what they're talking about. We put the flyers out there, so we give you the precursor to let you know. But you need to come on live with us so you can hear it for yourself. It's okay to watch the replay. So if you guys are working and you can't sit down and watch this, we get it. But it's going to be on all these platforms so you're able to watch. I am excited that you are here. I'm excited. Morgan and I appreciate you guys coming on week after week, the comments, the encouragement, everything that you give us for what we're doing. We want to make sure that lives are absolutely changed by what's going on this platform, on this series. We don't come on here just to come on here. We could do that anytime. We come on here with a purpose, and that purpose is to impact the lives of many people. There's my, hi, Morgan.
Hey. I'm still trying to.
Yeah, because you are frozen and you have this look like, don't say anything to me, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't care what the picture looks like. So we're so happy, y'all. Look, I gotta tell you a funny story about Morgan. Morgan, I'm gonna tell you business because it was funny. Last week we have Janet on. Oh, she disappeared. Now she can't. Now I gotta wait before I can tell the story. Oh my goodness. Come back on here so I can tell the story. See, that's what happens when you want to run. When somebody wants to tell your business, now you want to run. Come on back in here so you can hear this. Oh my goodness. So come on in, everybody. Come in. Let us know that you're here. We want to make sure that you're on. This show's going to be great. This show's going to be great. I'm excited about it. So at the last Tuesday of every month, we have our He Said, She Said series. So that's where we talk about a topic, and we want as many people, male and female, to come on, and we have a discussion from the male and the female perspective. So I don't know why people are afraid to come on here. You come on. We want to have the conversation. So at last Tuesday and every single month, that's what we do. We highlight during the rest of the month, we highlight female entrepreneurs, those women that are doing great things in their community, have great stories to tell because we make the connection. So many of our guests have connected with some viewers and gotten things that they needed. I know me personally, I have. So I'm always looking for more help, more things that I have not been exposed to. So that's what we do here. So if you are looking for business women in many areas, from marketing to consulting to therapy to, we had a female truck driver. Oh my goodness, I will never forget Jasmine and her story about truck driving. All of that, all of those connections here on the House of Peach. So guess what? You got to watch the show. You have to connect. You have to take the people, their contact information, and you got to reach out because we're trying to help you. We're trying to help you. So as of right now, I don't see anything in the comments. I know that there are people watching. I know y'all are just shy. You don't want to say anything. I don't understand, but it's okay. We're going to give you a chance. We're going to give you a chance to get it together. How about that? So our guest this evening. So let me go ahead until while Morgan gets her stuff together, then I'm going to tell on her. Our guest this evening is a woman that I do not know her personally. I know her cousin, but she has a story to tell, a real live story that I have not had experience with. I've heard of women having experiences with this, but the greater thing out of the story is she has produced a book that will encourage you, and you're going to get all that information this evening, and we are going to support. I've already bought my copy and I've read over half of it, and I couldn't put it down. Like I literally do. April, you have to work. So if you got to work, you can't do that. Hey, Morgan. But
Hey.
that's what we're going to do this evening. Now, I'm going to tell you business. You know, I'm going to tell you business, right?
Oh, you're good.
So last Tuesday, we had Janet on. And those of you that saw the show last Tuesday, I did the show with Janet by myself. My host, Morgan, was MIA. So after the show, I called Morgan. I'm like, what happened? She said, what time is it? I said, well, on the East Coast, it's like 8:30. She said, wait a minute. Oh my God. She was in Alabama in Central Standard Time Zone, thinking she had a whole nother 45 minutes before she had to get on. And the show was done. Morgan, I'm gonna need you to.
No, it wasn't even. The funny thing is, so that's what it is. That's what it seemed like. So I looked at the time and I saw 7:15, and for some reason your text message popped up at the same time, like, "Hey, where you at?" And I was like, "Hey, I'm actually about to be leaving the hospital anyway, so this kind of like works out just perfectly." I'm about to get in the car, and then that's when you called me, and I was like, "Well, what time is it?" And you were like 8:30 your time, and I was like, "What?" And I was like, it was even worse. It was even worse having to go back home. So I flew into Atlanta because it was a little cheaper than to, fly actually into where I was in Alabama. So it was like, okay, that's fine. I could kind of drive, not a big deal. So I leave from the hospital. I'm like, I've got enough time to be able to, take a shower, throw the rest of my stuff into the bag, get some certain things prepped. And then I'm like, oh, I've got enough time to take a nap because I don't have to be at the airport till like 3:30 in the morning. Flight to leave to like 5:30. I was like, that's ample time. I was shooting for like 3:30, right?
Right.
Well, as I'm driving, the time changes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I start to panic because it says that I'm supposed to be getting to the airport at 4:22 and the gates are supposed to open at 4:45. And I'm like, I'm about to go into Atlanta. I don't even know what I'm expecting, but I don't need no trouble. Nobody's nothing when it comes to security, the whole nine yards. So I played beat the GPS, and I don't care what anybody says. I beat that GPS by a good 12 to 15 minutes. Thank God for Southern speed limits and what they were and the time in which it was. So I got there at like 4:12 instead of 4:25. And by the time I got to the gate, it was 4:44.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And they had changed my seat like up too. So I was actually kind of happy because they had me all the way in the back of the plane. They put me towards the middle and ended up with the row all to myself. I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Like you knew exactly what I needed after this weekend. So yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot that was going on. And so I apologize, y'all. Like on you too. I was so upset because I was like, oh man, I absolutely love Janet. when I did the interview with Janet, it was absolutely amazing.
She was a lot of fun.
So we'll have to play a rewind, and play it back one time.
Oh yeah, I told her we would have her back on for one of our he said she said segments because yeah. So how's today been?
Today's been a lot. It's a little different. My oldest is with his dad for a week, so it's an adjustment for us in the house a little bit. And then unfortunately, a good friend in our community passed. So trying to still wrap my head around that because there was plans to see him for my birthday in a couple of weeks. And so it's rough on some folks, and
I will definitely keep y'all in prayer about that. I understand how that is. It's difficult, but we're going to have a good time this
I know. I'm excited. Like I'm like ready to jump in because of like all that you've told me with this guest here.
Yes.
I'm always the one that's like super excited. So I'm like ready to jump in on this end.
So our guest this evening, Miss Kimberly Davis, is going to come and we're going to have a real just in-depth conversation, and she's very inspiring. Like what her book, like I was telling them that I had started reading her book. I'm over halfway done, and I was still on the clock for work. Like, you need to put this down and get some work done. Instead of sitting here reading, like, no, I want to keep reading, but I need to get this work done. So I can't wait to finish it up and see it. But it is amazing, and she's going to give all the information so we know how to follow her and to order her book and stay abreast of what's going on. So we're going to bring on Miss Kimberly Davis, and we're going to start this conversation. We're going to get it going.
Yeah.
A good time this evening. So we're ready. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good. So first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to be on. We are excited about having you on in this discussion and you just sharing who you are, your life, what you've been through, because it's real, like really real, really, really real. But thank you so much for coming on, because you definitely you got a story. Like it's gonna bless some people. It really is gonna do that this evening. So there's Morgan. You haven't met her. That's Morgan. And so this is how we want to start it off. Just tell us, who is Kimberly? Give us a little background on you. I know you have children because I read it in the book. So why don't you just give us some background on who you are?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you ladies for even giving me this opportunity to be here. I'm very honored and I'm very grateful. And I am pretty much just, I guess, can I say I am who I am? I'm a mom. I have 4 kids, 3 boys, 1 little girl. I work full time. I'm an entrepreneur. I write books. I'm into gardening. I love all things mystical and just trying to figure out stuff like that. I'm always searching, saying for a deeper meaning of anything that happens in life, even though it's bad. So I guess you would say I'm one of them people that always look at it like the glass half full instead of half empty.
Right.
I guess that's all.
Where are you from?
I'm from Georgia.
You're from Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. Very nice.
That's where I'm from. Hey, shout out to GA.
I know that's right.
Look, all that pollen had me over there messed up last week.
Oh, I know it did.
Yeah, it is bad.
Like, yeah, exactly. Migraine central, the whole 9 yards. But so I was like, tell me, I love to talk about, the mom and the entrepreneur, side of things. How is it, going from, being in the mom headspace to now being entrepreneur and especially, writing books? Like, what's that like putting, your life on paper for your children to even possibly read and see. You know, some people don't necessarily talk about their lives all the time with their children in depth like that.
Right. Definitely, I think being a mom prepared me for this journey to be vulnerable enough. Like, I, okay, so I think that my kids gave me like the confidence to be like, Mom, you might not think it's okay, but it's all right. Do it anyways. You know, because that's what children do, right? They be
Mm-hmm.
like, they might not really know, but they do it anyways. So from me watching them and just doing that in their life and being a mom really prepared me for this part of my life because it's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to have thoughts inside your head and you and they really ain't like the norm of what how people think, and then you're like, but this really did happen to me. These were my thoughts. Should I share it or shouldn't I share it?
Right.
So having my kids really prepared me to be just open.
Mm. Yeah, a lot. I know a lot of people have so many thoughts about different things that they don't say because it's what would people think?
Yes.
You know, will they think that I'm crazy? Will they try to have me committed? Will they, separate themselves from me and not want to have anything to do with me because they're like something is not right? But these are your real, genuine thoughts. I had to come to grips with that. The things because my mind is always going, always like I'm sitting here, but there's like 100 things that's going through my head. But some of the thoughts, I don't share that because I've shared some stuff with people and they were like, yeah, okay. But, and so then I just retreated. So did you go through that moment of just retreat? Because let me just say to myself that introverted because y'all don't get it or nobody's going to understand. I don't want you to think that something's wrong with me. Did you have that moment?
I definitely struggle with it. Actually, this book sat on my shelf for like over 2.5 years
Wow.
because I struggled putting it out.
Mm,
Like, if you read it, it's inserts in there where I talked about hearing voices, right?
mm,
And it being so vulnerable, like I was like, no, I can't do this. And I did a lot of fasting and praying and just asking God to lead me because I was afraid that people were going to be like, this girl is crazy. Like,
yeah.
it's telling us in the book, instead of taking it in a positive way, I was like, people are going to think I'm crazy.
Mm,
But I just prayed and I just trusted because God, I feel like God told me, because I got more books on my shelf and they were finished, but God, he just came to me one night. He was like, I need you to give back. So I really felt like this was for him, for me to give back, to show the world like God is present. He works in all types of ways, even when you're low or whatever.
mhm.
So I definitely was ashamed. I was ashamed. I was ashamed. I was worried about how people were gonna perceive me. Like you said, I thought they were gonna think I was crazy instead of looking for the message that I was putting into what I was writing.
And so many people need the message. They need to read it. They need to hear it. They need to see it to encourage them. Folks may not ever say anything, but there's people that are looking for something or someone to give them that they can relate to.
Right.
And it may not be the exact thing that you went through, but how you were feeling, the lack of wanting to be vulnerable, the how you retreat, all of those thoughts, everything that was going through your mind while you went through this stuff, 2016 up to all of these years that you did. 2016. I mean, I read you this event happened in 2016, and then it was what 2016 to 2019. Your
Look,
struggle.
you don't read some stuff. For those of us who haven't read anything yet,
Okay,
and
okay,
without giving away too much, can you give us the jacket Cliff Note
yes.
excerpt of
I'm
what
not going to
it
do
is
that.
so that everybody can run go get it, and then you can finish your question. Goodness gracious, I'm
No,
sitting here like, wait, what happened in the what time? Wait, that's a whole lot of time. Wait, run that back. Go
okay, now why don't you just go ahead and tell everybody what happened? Tell it.
So in 2016, I was shot in a drive-by shooting. It was me, my sister, and her boyfriend. We were sitting on her back porch, and they shot us. And I got shot 5 times. I got a little scar. I don't know if you guys can see it, but right here, my face, my back, my side, and in both of my legs. I was in a coma for 10 days. It was just like a whole ordeal. I died. I had an experience. I didn't put that in this book, but I had a whole experience of like the afterlife, heaven, hell, whatever you want to reference it to. But yeah, that's what happened in a nutshell.
That was an extra small nutshell. Like that, she put that in like a macadamia nut. But no, that
Wow.
was good enough though, because for real, I was like, that's enough for me to want to like, okay, let me go read that. So here's a question for you.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people always talk about, recovery, and sometimes you end up being angry. Was it due to your experience dying?
Mhm.
do did you have a space in now your recovery where you were angry, or still why God? Because you hear like sometimes it's always just like, why did this happen to me, or if God really loved me, why did this person end up having to die, or why did I get spared and not the other person? All of these, these why questions based upon the experience that you did have in that time. Did it cause you to still wonder why, or did you feel like what you saw there gave you some answers as to how you handled your recovery differently?
I'm gonna say I definitely didn't handle my recovery good at all. It took me 3 years down the line to kind of understand. So of course I had that why. Like my sister was gone for one. She wasn't my biological sister, but we was together since we were little girls. So blood couldn't have made us no closer. So not only was I struggling with the fact that I was different physically, I also was different mentally, and I also lost my best friend.
Mm.
Mm,
So with all of this, that, and then not only that, I still had to be a mom. I still had to work. I still had to make life happen. So before I got shot, that's all I knew. I knew, like to just, I'm a mom. I go to work. I raise my kids. I do what I'm supposed to do. What they teach us to do. That's what I do. So after I got shot, what I did before definitely wasn't working. So I was like, why me, God? Here it is. There go the big old, why did you save me just to have me go through so much hell? Like, I'm
mm,
literally because everyone's telling you, oh, God got something for you. You got to be, it got to be something you hear, you survive. Everybody's telling you all these things. But at the same time, you sitting there, you thinking to yourself, I'm thinking to myself, like, how? How?
Mm.
Like I'm literally going through hell. I'm struggling to even get up out my bed. So, but y'all, like people just was like, you're special. God got you here for a reason. It's a calling on your life, and here I am, like God, why?
Mm.
Why did you save me? Why did I get shot so many times and survive? And my sister got shot once. She passed away. Oh,
Wow.
if you got this big old plan for me, God, like what is it? Reveal it to me anytime. Cause right now, like I'm struggling. Like I'm like this close from ending it all. If I was honest, if I could be honest up here, like that's how
Mm.
it was. Because I was dealing with so much grief, not knowing how to process it. Even though I went to therapy, my family was a big support, but it was nothing penetrating me to help me. And I didn't know, like I didn't understand why God left me. So I definitely came to the point of asking God why, like
Mhm.
why.
And that's, we are, those of us that grew up in church, they taught us, don't ask God why, don't ask
Yes.
questions. And then when I became an adult, it's like, no, you need to ask questions. Like
Hmm.
everybody in the Bible asks questions,
Right.
So during this time where you had all these people saying, "Oh, God has something for you. There's a calling, like there's a reason, blah blah blah," were they actually helping you to navigate through to find that reason? So they were just saying that and moving on, just to be saying something. See, I have a problem with that. if you say that, then can you help me get to that point? Especially if you see this look on my face of, okay, you say that, but I'm not seeing that. Well, here, let's do this. People don't really do that like they should.
Right.
How was the time with your kids? Because that's a lot to deal with, to know that they could have lost their mother, and then now when she comes home, she's not the same, and things are not the same as they were. Did How was that with them? How did they deal?
Well, actually, actually, two of my kids was actually there with me, like when the shooting happened. My oldest son and the next to the oldest son, he was there. My other two kids, they were with their dad. But coming home, because it's so weird. So I got shot, and I was going through this whole ordeal. I was in a coma, and I couldn't see my kids because at the time, I guess my family thought that it was best for my kids not to see me in that type of position. So when I came up out my coma, all I wanted to do was see my kids. But
Mhm.
still they didn't want to traumatize them more because of what I had already went through. So I really wasn't able to see my kids. So when I finally did make it home, it was just because when I was in the hospital, that was my motivation for getting home. And then when I got home, because I had to come home with a trach,
Mm.
and I had just it was just so much physical stuff going on. And then, I'm like, my kids got to see this. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, like, what are they going to think? Because they were small. So it really, and then, like I said, there was something else to pile on top of everything that I was feeling, trying to normalize, trying to make everything feel normal for them because I didn't want them to feel any type of way. So it just had me moving a whole lot faster than I would have normally moved, right?
Mm.
Like I don't want them to see me struggle. I don't want, because sometimes like in with the trach, you get these clots, right? And I would panic really bad. And I know like stuff like that was gonna traumatize them. So I started closing myself off to keep some
Mm.
of these things away from them. So by me doing that, that still caused like some kind of division between me and my kids.
Right.
So it started making me feel really isolated, even though I was trying to normalize everything for them, but I was pulling away
Yeah.
because I was trying to normalize everything for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And then too, you were already dealing with it and didn't know how to process everything that had happened. And then that's more stress added on top of it. And it was a lot. It was a lot. Wow. I am I'm like you. I look at everything. So I look at the number of times that you were shot. There's a significance with the number of five. And I'm not gonna go into all of that because we're not gonna go down that road, but there is significance to every single part. So talk about how you started to come up out of what you were dealing with mentally and the withdrawal from everything.
So, not to speak too much on this, but I do have to add this to it. I try not to give it so much power, but I also was in an abusive relationship,
Mm.
mentally and physically. So, that's something else piled on top of it.
Right.
So I was working at the hospital, and like I said, I was coming home. I worked night shift, and I was coming home one morning, and I was tired. I just remember pulling my car over on the side of the road, and I just started screaming. Like I was screaming at God. I was mad. I was pissed. I was tired. I wanted a way out because
Mm.
I couldn't take it anymore. This was 2019, and I was like, I just want a way out. Like, God, you either gonna help me right now, this day, or I'm gonna end it all and I'm just gonna be done with it. Like I need answers. And like I was crying and I was yelling, I was fussing with God. I was talking just like, if people passing by, I'm sure they thought I was crazy because I was out there just really, what I'm saying? I was just tired. Like I felt like I had nowhere to go at this point.
Mhm.
I was already at the bottom. I couldn't even figure out how to get up out of it. I went to therapy. They just wanted to give me pills. I'm just like my family. I knew they were trying to help me, but it just wasn't like, it wasn't helping, like, because I felt like I played it too well.
Mm,
Like, I made it seem like everything was all good, but I was breaking on the inside. I was tore up. I was just a mess. But I smiled. I kept moving. So everybody, if you look like you're doing good, ain't nobody gonna stop to say, "Are you really okay?"
mm-hmm.
Nobody's gonna do that. So my family thought I was good. So they was like, they kept on moving with their daily life, and I kept moving. But in 2019, I was just at that point where I was like, God, I'm either gonna take my life or you're gonna help me.
Mm,
And in that moment, he told me, and I didn't know what it meant then, but I felt a peace come over me. He was like, you're gonna have to break your own heart to heal it. And I
mm,
just remember being like, what? Whatever. But then when I said that whatever, when it came out my mouth, it was like I got this calm feeling. It's a feeling that I just don't, I can't even explain it. But it was a feeling of letting me know, if you trust me, it's gonna be okay. But I
mhm.
need you to trust me. So
And so did you feel that at that point of, okay, I'm going to trust what you're saying. I'm going to trust you to get me through this. Or did you still have moments of, why? I don't know. I'm not for sure if I want to just completely trust you. Did you have those moments of doing that?
yes, when I said I trust him, it was so sarcastically. I was like, "Yeah, I trust you." You know, that's how it was. It was like, "Yeah, I trust you." Like, because I really didn't want to kill myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I knew where I was. Like, I would have attempted. I knew I would have, even though I didn't want to. But I knew I would have attempted. So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna trust you." You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how it was. Because, and then on top of that, I got to tell y'all this: my shooting tore my religious foundation down.
Wow.
It absolutely broke it. Like, I came up out of that like, oh my God, they lied to me. They've been lying to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, so I'm sitting here trying to process what I seen when I was in my coma, thinking about what they told us about religion and Jesus and all these things. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what? Like, all of it's been a lie?
Mm,
Because in that time, he, you know, say, I don't know about nobody else, but nobody told me, like, you went to church, you was there on Sundays, you did Easter, you did all of that. But they left out the spiritual part, like the spiritual relationship that you got to have with God. Like,
right.
they clearly left this out in church. So, me being what, I was 32 when I got shot, and then I'm coming to this realization, like, what?
Mm,
What? And so that was another dynamic that I had to digest too. Is like, can I break away from religion and
mm.
still serve Jesus? Can I break away from religion and still, love God? So it was a lot that I was dealing with.
Wow. That's heavy to have to process through it, and you just couldn't take it on all at once. I mean, that you have to take it in bits and pieces. What did you do to start that? I mean, after you had this moment, what did God take you through, or what happened bit by, piece by piece to get you to where you are today?
So when I was like that day, I was like, okay, God, I'm a trust. And I would love to tell people that I left and I made it home and everything was like, ha. No, it didn't happen like that.
Mhm.
It was a process. It really was. It was just a whole road. My first thing that God put in my spirit was to do my own research, to learn it for myself. Like, don't take anybody else's word for it. Learn it for yourself. So it would be times like that. I know from 2019 to 2021, it was like a studying period. I studied
Mm,
all different types of religions. I was trying to put like the dots together. Why is everything so divided? Like, why are they missing the spiritual part about, worshiping the Most High? Like, what is this? Like, why are they missing this part of it? And I ran into, I was on YouTube, I ran into something. It was talking about the Christ consciousness,
Mm.
and that's when I realized, I was like, oh, so okay. So I kind of went down that rabbit hole, and I just like I just really studied different religions. I read a whole lot of books. I kept what resonated with me. I tried to be led by the Holy Spirit to know when something was good for me to have, like it was meat for my soul, and I let go of everything that wasn't.
Mm.
So it was a lot of studying, and really a lot of just walking out there on faith. Like,
Yeah.
just okay, God, like you said, you're gonna help me. You brought me this far, so I'm just you, and I'm gonna go, and I in all hopes, if I'm doing something that is against you, you will convict my heart, so I can go
Mhm.
away from it.
Right. Right. Did you feel peace as you went through that process of reading and learning?
No, I felt crazy. I still felt crazy for a long time,
Mhm.
because at this point, I started learning about discernment, right? If you read my, like when you read the book, like it was voices. So I had to learn like who was speaking to me and who wasn't speaking to me, when it was
Mm.
good or when it was bad. So I had to learn that discernment of what I can take in, like what is really for me and what is working against me, just to, put me on some negative or alternate path that I'm not supposed to be on.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people they just read and take everything in and not understand. Not everything is for everybody.
Right.
There's things that will, when you read it, it resonates with your spirit. It makes you feel a certain way that's like, yeah, I need to hold on to this information. And then there's stuff like, oh no,
Yeah.
no, not this.
You're
And
right.
don't do that. And you need to, otherwise you're bringing stuff in and you'll start meditating and thinking on that stuff. And the next thing you know, you out here
Yes.
doing some stuff because you have taken in information that wasn't for you to take in.
Exactly. I totally agree.
How did this studying period help you deal with the grief of losing, your friend?
Um, the it taught me how, like, if I really believed in like spirit, like I believe in, if I really believe what I seen in my coma, it helped me understand, like, when I leave this flesh, like it's just like this flesh is just me dwelling here now. But once my soul leaves this, I go to another space. So it helped me understand, like, she's not here with me physically, but I know she is somewhere. And
Mhm.
one day I will get to see her again.
Mhm.
And it just brought a peace in my soul, because, like, at the time I just thought all was lost. I was like, I've never been a person that dealt with death really good, because I'm one of them type. I was a type of person that I didn't address my feelings. I just ran over them, or I just pushed them to the side and be like, okay, I'll feel that later, but I don't want to feel it right now.
Mhm.
So it helped me to face things head on versus putting it to the side. I miss her. My heart is breaking. I don't know what I'm going to do without her. All those feelings that made me feel weak and vulnerable, that I didn't want to feel, it was like, embrace this. Be okay with letting her go. Be
Mhm.
okay with letting her rest, because you can clearly see holding on to her as much as you're holding on to her is hurting you. It taught me to not self harm, and not like cut, but self harm. You like
Mhm.
It taught me how to not like do those type of things to myself.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I was like, that puts more meaning to where, in the Bible it says, let the dead bury the dead.
Yeah,
It's not that we're not to, celebrate or, remember life, but at the same time, you're right. That grief can most definitely consume you and then even change the trajectory of, what's going on. A lot of people also don't talk about grief when it comes to children. And we were, you kind of touched on how, your own feelings and how you were dealing with, your own progress, what had happened to you physically, and then having to come home and deal with your children. But how did you, I was like, that was coupled, you, like you said, there's a lot that was going on and you were juggling a lot of emotions at that time. The recovery end of that, once you realize that you found yourself, you know, actually pulling back, you know, in your attempt to protect your children and to normalize, you know, this new norm while you're trying to figure out exactly what that looks like. How did you recover on the back end of things?
So when I realized that I was going to go on my spiritual journey, I actually sat my kids down. And I'm really open with my kids. I sat them down and I was like, look, mama, I was like, mommy's going to go on this journey. And I was like, if y'all are willing to go through it with me, when I come up out of it, I'm going to be the best version of myself that I can be for you, because mommy knows right now she's not the best for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the conversation that I had with my kids. And I was like, I know I'm not the best for y'all, right? It's going to make me cry. But, so I just sat them down and I was real honest with them, because they already knew. They already knew that I wasn't well, you know, like, because they were here. My little people were here with me. When they were the ones, when I couldn't get up out my bed, they were like, come on, mommy, it's okay, get up. You know, they were the ones when my mom was gone and it was just us here, like they were here. So I just felt like I owed it to them to, you know, be honest with them. And I sat them down and I just told them, I was like, look, you know, I'm going to go on this journey. If y'all are willing to go through it with me. And, you know, when mama come out of it, I'm going to be the best version of me that I can be. And they were like, okay, mom, you know, their little kids, they were like, okay, we can do it. We can do it. So they were there, and that's how I did that part of it. Just, and making sure, like, I talked with them, like, when I was going through what I was going through. Like, if I tried something different, I used to meditate a lot. I got into grounding. I understood, like, how everything is energy, like explaining these things to my kids while I was going through, and not just going through the process by myself, but also helping them heal at the same time, and teaching them, like, what are you feeling right now? Like, let me know how you're feeling. You don't have to hold it in, because, you know, I did that and you see what happened to me. So let's be open with each other. Let's learn how to, you know, express our feelings. So a lot of my healing journey, I also had a chance to reteach my kids of ways of dealing with life.
Wow. How old were they when you had this conversation with them?
So my oldest was 12. At 12 or 13, give or take a little bit, but he was probably 12 or 13. So 5 years under that, what, 8, 7, and 6.
Wow.
So they were little kids.
Yeah. So your cousin is on my page and she's commenting and she's saying, don't cry, cuz I love you.
I love you
And
too.
I'm up here like, oh my God. Oh,
So I was like, that was a great answer in the sense of it also answered the why. You know, sometimes things happen to us, sometimes, you know, trauma occurs so that we can course correct. You know what I mean? You personally were, you know, going through some things as far as the relationship was concerned, which, you know, we know also directly affects these kids. And sometimes, you know, it takes the most drastic things or, you know, life altering things to get us to be able to change things. And I think that, you know, because you kept things in the forefront, but still were willing to go outside of, like you said, that small box that you felt like everyone told you all of these years. And now you've had an experience where it's like, it's so much bigger than that. The fact that you can take that, but then also say, like you said, deal with discernment and be able to take the Holy Spirit and say, hey, listen, this is the journey that we're going on. And then also take your kids with you. That learning experience and that vulnerability to like see that. So many, I think people like underestimate the beauty of that when it comes to like your children. And I'm sure there's a level of respect, there's a level of honesty and a different type of relationship now that they have with you than, you know, they did have before. So I commend you for taking that step, because I was like, it's huge, that's brave, it's not for the faint of heart at all, girls. So I'm over here like, yes, high five for you, high five, high five. Oh my goodness.
Because we don't give some people don't give their children that opportunity to express themselves and how they feel. And I'm just now with my last child, just now getting to that point of allowing her to be expressive in any way, as long as it's not, off the walls.
Right.
Be able to express, because my other kids, it wasn't, I didn't allow them because I didn't allow myself.
Right.
So I put that on them, and now I'm a totally different person. I'm expressive. So she she came in, even with clothes. She came in. We were going out of town this weekend, and she comes in with this outfit on, and I just look at it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I just look away, like, "Oh, yeah, that's what you're wearing." Oh, okay.
Yes. Good job, April. Listen, I am a firm believer in that. You know what I mean? Clothing, music, art, all of those kind of dance, it's all an expression of who you are. And some people show it in different ways. I express who I am through my food. You know what I mean? I have another kid who expresses it through dance. I have another one who does it, through singing. So I was like, you have to be able to give it that. And sometimes, it might look crazy, but here's the thing, but to whose standard?
Right.
Yeah.
We've gotten to a place now where like, wear white when? I'm gonna wear white when I feel like it, even if it's in the middle of September. Why? Because I like this outfit and it's bomb. Like, don't you like this too? Like, you know what I mean? Once we get to the place of just being able to be us.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a nice place to to be in. And because we didn't get a chance to experience our parents like that, at no point in time would we know that it's okay for us to do it. So then in turn for us to allow our children to do it. So I feel like, we're doing a good job in being a little bit more self-aware of being able to, open this space for our children to be able to do stuff. Because we can't sit over here cackling in a corner mad, about like, this person won't talk, or this person, did you see how she did it? Like, nobody's ever going to learn how to communicate sitting there tight-lipped, or like I said, cackling in the corner. Like we don't get that. So
exactly.
What did that do for your relationship with your kids now that you encourage them to express how they felt? Because you had it bottled up for so long, and now you're at this point of, no, I want you to tell me how you feel. So what did that do for your relationship with them as a group and then individually? Because all our children have different personalities. So what did that do? How did that help?
So first of all, it's always a good and bad side to everything, right? So
absolutely.
it feels good. I'm teaching them, to find your voice. Don't be disrespectful, but have your voice. Don't let anyone silence you, not even your mom, right? But you got to go to school, and teachers, like, they are not used to kids being that way. They are not used to kids speaking how they feel respectfully and being okay with it. I got so many calls of, like, from the school, them telling me, "Oh, well, you know what your son said to me? What did he say to you, ma'am?" Well, he said, da, da, da. Was he disrespectful? Was he loud? I mean, so what's the problem? Oh, he just shouldn't say stuff like that. Why, ma'am? So it was that was one ordeal that I had to do with, like, outside of the house. Inside of the house, it was easy. It made me question myself sometimes, because I gave them the space. If they felt like I was doing something wrong, like, let me know. So it was times that I had to, correct myself as well. Hey, you gave them this space. Obviously, this is making them uncomfortable. So, like, handle this situation. Don't tell them they can do this and then try to get offended for what? You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely a lot of getting used to. It helped me understand the teachers more too. Like, when I would be in my feelings if they came to me about something or said something or spoke up about it. So it helped me understand, like, where the teachers were coming from, what they were feeling at the same time. And then it also helped me talk to the people. Like, it just made me be a really, like, an advocate for my kids when it came to the public school system. It made me really, learn my rights, learn like my kids, right? Learn my rights as a parent because they were coming up like against them because of them being so vocal. So it really like it taught me a lot, but it also at the same time we were going through a lot as well because everybody was adjusting to this newfound confidence that the whole family has found. So it definitely was a work in progress, still is a work in progress.
Right. I love the fact that you advocated for your children in that space because a lot of people don't know how to do that. And you're absolutely right. There are certain rules that are set into place so that your child doesn't do just that. And you're right. I was reading something the other day where it was just like your child, you need to get okay with your child saying no. And why? Because if your child is okay with telling you no, then they can tell the rest of the world no.
Exactly.
And if you can't respect and accept that no, so as much as you want to, get in your place, I like to say parenting, like ego has to die in parenting, just like it has to die, honestly, in any relationship, really, because kids are definitely going to show you yourself as well. It's a mirroring thing. And just so I like the fact that you asked the questions in the sense of like, was my child, did they have a tone? Were they being disrespectful? You asked exactly what was being said, because then in that sense, you were like, okay, listen, I can definitely back my child up if they were not in the wrong. If they were in this, well, then, yeah, let me get your ear, because that's not how I taught you to speak to someone. It wasn't what you said. It was how you spoke to that person. And that's the place that, we've got to have that level of respect. But then at the same time, as adults, y'all can't just be talking to these kids any old type of way either. Like, if you want respect from a child, you actually have to give respect. And it can't just be over here, oh, well, because I'm an adult, you just automatically demand it. No, just the same as you wouldn't just walk up to me as an adult and demand me to respect you. It's the same thing, as children. So I was like, that's hard, especially in that public school or, that the traditional school setting, and trying to teach your child how to navigate these very necessary core principles outside, because everywhere outside is not it. And you don't want them to crumble. Right. Or to end up just, okay, well, now I'm gonna clam up. Like, I can say what I want to at home, but because I know how it ends up being once I get out here, then I'm gonna just be quiet. Like, no, still be assertive, still say what you need to say. But also know, if you have to back down in certain situations, then hush your mouth and mom will come to the rescue.
Right.
So I get it already set. So
So tell us about the book. Tell everyone, tell us the name of the book, how they can purchase the book, when you're going to drop the rest of the books. I'm going to throw that out there.
Yeah, exactly. Because I need like
collecting dust.
So the book, it is called Confessions of a Southern Girl. It's subtitled Don't Always Judge a Book by Its Cover. You can find it on Amazon. If you're local to my area, I have copies on hand that I have signed with a little message in there for you guys. You can email me at Kimberly Davis Kimberly S. Davis, iCloud, and I can mail you a copy out also. So. Yep.
All right. Well, I think I got the Kindle book, but I want a physical one because I want your signature. So I'm going to have to order a physical one so I can have that autograph in there. I feel left out. So let me get on here later on and order that so you can send that to me. So how many other books do you have waiting to get published?
So I have 4 finished books that I finished way before these because during my healing process, it was put in my spirit, go back to what you loved to do when you were a child, and that was writing. So that's how I picked up writing again. So as I was healing, I was writing. Oh God, I started journaling like nothing else because I had so much going on. I didn't know how to get it out. I wasn't to the point where I could process it just yet. So I wrote everything down. I started putting it in stories to make it make sense in my head. Because even though I was reading it, I was like, it still wasn't making sense. So I started making up stories. And during this process, I wrote 4 whole books. But their fiction is nothing like the one that I put out now. Like I said, I hadn't been able to write for a while, and I was just sitting on my bed one night just watching TV, and God just put in my spirit. He was like, "Give back," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" Give back. And he was like, "Before you publish anything, I need you to give back. I need you to be vulnerable." And I was like, "What?" You're like, "What? Vulnerable? God, what you want me to put in here for real?"
Oh my.
So,
I
yeah.
feel you. I feel. I have a friend from Ohio. Nia said she absolutely loves this. She said it gives her so much courage. And she was like, especially being black, and I guess in school when it comes to your kids, she's like, it makes it a whole lot even harder. She's like, can you say your email again so that she can be able to get a signed copy?
Yes. Kimberly S. Davis at iCloud.com.
Okay, and I'll make sure I put that in the thing too. So Nia, if you didn't get that, I'll make sure I post it again for you.
Yep. And you can also go on Amazon and search
Amazon.
it up on Amazon as well.
Yes.
But go to her email. That way she can get the money for it.
There you go. Confessions of a Southern Girl.
There you go. There's the book. Well, we want you to hurry up and drop those other books and stop leaving them on the shelf to collect more dust. Because
Exactly. Look, because I need that afterlife book like next month. Okay. Please and thank you.
Right.
yeah. So the coma that you were in, was that medically induced, or because of your injuries you slipped into the coma? Did they put you in that?
Initially, it was because of my injuries, but
Mm-hmm.
then because I did have so many injuries, like when I came out, they had to induce me for
Oh.
some additional time. I think what my mom told me, I don't know if she's in the room, but she was like they was having a problem with my temperature, like they couldn't get it down, and I was fighting. She was like, your body was just fighting. Like they was
Mm.
trying to get you to be still. They had to restrain you. And I told, like, it made sense because when I was going through, I was literally inside myself fighting, trying to get back. So
Mhm.
it made sense that what she said that they seen physically me doing, because I was joining on the inside as well.
Wow. So one of your books detailing how things were when you remember a lot when you were in that coma?
I wrote it down so I would never forget.
Oh my
And that's
goodness.
how I got a book.
And that's in a book? Can you drop that book like tomorrow?
Look, I was trying to be nice. That's what I just said by like next month. But like, I mean,
Just give it to me unpublished. I'll just take
yeah,
it on
exactly.
pieces
We
of
don't care.
paper.
Like, you can have typos and everything. Like,
Right. Put it in a legal pad. I don't care, right? Just send it to me like that. Like, what?
exactly. Look, can you honestly hear people talking? Like,
Yes, yes, I
so you
definitely
can
could.
hear
And
people in the room talking to you.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
like it was so weird. Like I said, I don't know if my mom's in the room, but I when I came out my coma, like I couldn't talk because my mouth was all wired shut. Like these people told me that I wasn't gonna be able to remember my kids because one of the bullets stopped like a half an inch away from my brain stem. The other one stopped an inch away from my spine. So it was like a lot of stuff going on. It was like, she's not, because my whole spine was like fractured. I remember like when they told me I couldn't walk, I was like, I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk. I can't talk. Everybody's talking around me, and I'm like, I remember. I know who my kids are. The doctor started telling my mom this stuff. Like, I feel so bad for her. She's not gonna know her children. And here I am laying in this bed, can't move, and I'm sitting there thinking like, I remember all 4 of my kids. Like, and I'm trying to signal to my mom because one thing that was funny to me, y'all, I just gotta share this with y'all. If y'all ever watched a movie where somebody was in a coma, when they came out that coma, like they had all their motor skills and they was ready to go, right? I came up out of coma, I couldn't move my arms. And that was just 10 days. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like it was so, because I wanted to write it down because I couldn't talk. And I remember them handing a pen to me. My arm was like, Like it was
Mm.
just everywhere. So, but that was funny to me. I know y'all looking like, how is that funny? But but it was funny because I remember watching on TV when people came out of coma, they was just like, boop. But that
Yeah,
ain't how it was. It was
right.
really rough. So, but it was definitely a process. I remember, actually getting up out the bed and sitting up and falling over. I remember taking that first step. I remember taking that oxygen off and actually walking down the hallway without the oxygen. I remember just so much in that time. I remember getting used to a colostomy bag because that hurt me a lot. I had to get used to not having my real teeth because I love to smile, if y'all can't tell by now. So it was just like a whole lot of adjusting that I had to do.
Yeah. Wow. I can't wait for that book. I'm ready. I'm for real. I'll take a look. Just scraps of paper, whatever you want to do. If you want to call and read it to me and I record it, like so
Exactly. Look, I'll do the audible version. I'll be your narrator. Okay.
that's
This-
amazing. TV has messed us up to make they make things look so people are in the worst situation. They come up like you said, they're just like, "Ooh, everything
Right.
is like I never was in there." No, this is real life. This stuff does. That's the same way I tell my students about surgery. That stuff you see on Grey's Anatomy, that's not real. What we do
Right.
in the operating room, that's real. So you had a course to go through physical therapy in order to learn how to do everything again because number one, your mouth was wired shut, and I've done those surgeries, so I know how bad that is on people because you have to just all liquid, so you just drop weight like no other. And then now you've been shot these multiple times, you've been in a coma, you've been in the hospital. So how was physical therapy for you? How was that mentally? I know how it was physically, but how was that mentally to have to learn how to do all of that stuff over again?
It was um it really like my determination because everybody kept saying that I wasn't going to be able to.
Hmm.
So it was like, I'm going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it hurt to hear them say that. And then sometimes I believed it because I was in that bed. I really couldn't move. But then I was like, once my little toe, that big toe started moving,
It was on.
I said, I'm going to do this. So
Mhm.
that part was like me, the walking and stuff, I did get discouraged a lot. Like I said, when I sat up for the first time and they let me go, I fell over. And when I could only take 2 steps, and I'm like, can't breathe, just so it did get discouraging, but at the same time, me seeing my kids was my driving force because I hadn't seen them, and I knew the
Mhm.
only way that I was going to be able to see them because my family wasn't going to bring them up there because they just didn't want them to be traumatized and see me like that. I was like, I got to get home to them. But honestly, honest to God, you guys, the hardest part for me to deal with was my mental part, me learning how to live with fake teeth in a colostomy bag.
Wow.
That was because, not to give it too much energy, but the relationship that I was in, those were the areas that I was most vulnerable at because
Mm.
those was the areas that, I was targeted at. So that was really hard for me to get over.
Yeah. And then, to deal with what you dealt with and then come home to that type of relationship does not help the situation. It makes it worse.
Right.
So, how would you encourage? It's so many things, so many nuggets in this, but I want to take this part. How would you encourage people to find their voice and to speak out? Because you didn't do that. You held it all in. But how would you encourage them to get past that, to be vulnerable enough to share how you feel, to get that out so you can start the healing process?
So if y'all remember, if you've been here through the whole interview, I said God told me that I was gonna have to break my own heart to heal it. So my advice to the people that are watching this live is get that relationship with yourself. Be
Hmm.
so vulnerable with yourself. All those ugly things only you know that you kept away from the world. Tell yourself the truth. Be so vulnerable with you that if you had to be vulnerable in the world, it would be easy because you already did it for yourself. And that is where I had to start. Like I had to acceptance. I had to accept who I was then, who I was, saying in the middle, and whoever I'm gonna become. I just had to accept it all. Because if you grew up, what I'm saying, like you've been a villain to somebody, but you got to accept these things. You always got to be truthful to yourself. No matter, like, the worst thing I tell people, and I preach this to my children, the worst thing you can ever do is lie to yourself. Sit with yourself in silence. I know you hear people be like, I'm in my quiet girl era. Go in there, for real, go in there. And see how it is with her, for real, for real. Go on in there and see how it is. Like, instead of talking about it, really be about it, because it does get lonely. It does hurt. It does make you question your own reality sometimes, because you are just sitting there with you, nobody but you and the Most High. And don't listen, like, listen to people, but don't listen to them to direct your life. Let
Right.
spirit guide you. Because I tell my kids, like, if y'all don't believe nothing else, when God created you, and all the people that's watching, He created us with everything that we were going to need to win at this game. He created us with that. So why would we go outside of ourselves? And I know it feels good to have other people's validation, but be okay with your own. Be okay with your own. Sit with yourself. Don't lie to yourself, and go to them ugly places within yourself so
Yeah.
you can heal yourself.
Oh yeah, that's good. I did that, and it was it was a it was a space to be in. Yeah, that's definitely a mic drop. Yeah, that's sitting with yourself and being vulnerable, being honest with yourself. Ooh, that's real. Like I was sitting around looking like, is anybody hearing me say this? But I mean, yeah, that's real. That's good. That is good right there. Be honest with yourself. Because after a while, all that lying is going to catch up with you. And then people
Yes.
are going to see you for you. And that's when it's going to be really bad because you didn't sit with yourself. Y'all hear that? Said, sit with yourself. Be real with you. Be honest with you. It's for your healing. I am just, oh wow, just I am so happy that you came on here. I am to tell your story. You have encouraged me in many ways as a woman, as a mother, and what I go through is nothing compared to what you've dealt with and overcome. So to see you now, I didn't know you then and what you were going through, but to see you now and where you are, like anybody should be encouraged to know no matter what you are facing, no matter what you go through, no matter how horrible it is, you can get on the other side of it. And the fact that your children were your driving force and you wanted to get better for them and to be there for them and to be the mother for them, and then now it changed like your whole dynamic of your family.
It did.
It
It,
changed everything
it
and
did.
opened them up to the new mommies, like, whoa, we get to say what this, we can share how we feel with that. Whereas we, like, one Elite said she grew up where children were seen and not heard.
Exactly.
So you just sit there, be quiet, and you go over there, don't say anything. And so a lot of people, their voice, they don't have a voice because they were raised that way. So, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, you done had me crying. I'm up here like wiping my eye. Like, I'm just a crybaby anyway. He's like, oh my God. So hurry up and drop the other book. I can go ahead and do that. I'm gonna keep saying that. I'm gonna send you a message. I need you to got those books published. Got those books published.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. What else would you like to share with the people today?
I think we did everything. Like, I really do want to thank you, ladies. Like, I would like do the thing that scares you the most.
Mm.
Me writing my book really scared me, you guys. Me being vulnerable with you guys, like with the world, really scared me. But it also brought me liberation. Like
Mm.
it made me feel good too. Um, just like just know, like I'm smiling and everything. It wasn't always like this, but like you said, if you just keep going, and you ain't got to take big old steps, little bitty steps.
Mm-hmm.
If you just willing to see it through that minute, that second, that hour, just keep going. I promise it will get better. It
Yeah.
will get better.
So what's coming on here is part of or added part to healing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's good.
Because I have talked about my shooting before, but I was willing to be vulnerable with you guys. I was willing to answer those questions because but they didn't come up. A lot of people usually ask me, like, what did you see? And I would shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting more and more comfortable with, like, really sharing the details of that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask some questions, but I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna ask and get all in the business like that because that's real. That's a serious thing. And stuff happens so fast.
Right.
And then in an instant you are here and you just enjoying yourself, and then the next minute the world is turned upside down and you've lost your best friend and you are fighting for your life. The young man that was on the man that was with you, was he also hit as well?
Um, yeah. Everybody, I was the only survivor. It was three of
Really?
us, and I was the only survivor.
Oh wow. Wow.
So,
That's
yeah, I got shot the most, and it was just a lot. Like it was a
mm,
lot of questions there, you know. So,
yeah. But you survived and
yeah.
you're doing great. And so what's the next thing for Kimberly? What's the next thing for you besides getting those books done?
I think that what I want to be in a space where I can help, like, people. I want to create a space to really invite people to be themselves, because I feel like everybody puts up, that face. I just want to create a space where people feel comfortable being who they are. Whether if you want to wear one ponytail up, one ponytail down, I just want to create a space where people are okay with being who they are.
That's good. That's good. Well, I'm sure you'll come up with the best way that you want to do that. And it will definitely impact a lot of people. So, how can they find you on social media? Let people know how they can follow you.
Um, on Facebook, it's Kimberly Davis. On Instagram, it's Abundance Davis. AK, I go by Kimberly in Abundance. Um, on TikTok, it's Abundance as well. Snapchat, it's Abundance.
All right. So, you have all her social media handles. Morgan, what do you have, ma'am?
I was just gonna say, Kimberly, in this next phase of sharing your story, especially having to be more verbal and or vocal with it, share what you're comfortable with. And for the questions that, like you said, you tend to either shut down or tend to shy away from, give the answers that coincides with the message at the end of the day that you're trying to be able to give. I know in my own personal space of sharing some personal stuff, people ask questions and I feel you where you're like, I don't even want to give energy to that, or like I don't, there's just certain roads you don't want to go down at all. And so being able to redirect that in the space of which still allows you to be able to give peace, but then still answers a person's questions without it seeming like you're trying to shut them down or trying to be rude or even trying to just, be closed off. There's still an element of vulnerability, but a respect and a boundary of like, we're not going to go there. But if we're going to talk about over here, here's the energy that we're going to give this over that way, because it's going to come. But I'm excited for where this is going to, bring you next. And like you said, that advocacy and stuff that you have had to learn in this time, it's all going to, come together, and you're just going to be like, oh, wait, I just did that. Oh, I just did that, and exactly. Then pat yourself on the back, because honestly, like you said, from the beginning of this, you said everything that has happened to you and has had happen with you so far has brought you to this place. And so, revel in it, look in the space of, what, it might seem like it's broken. There are some pieces that aren't necessarily original or in its original place, but at the end of the day, this is still a beautiful, beautiful piece. And, I'm glad that you are here to be able to tell it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we have come to the end of another. I told y'all from the beginning this show was going to be amazing. Y'all didn't believe me, but I told you. But we're happy that everyone joined. If you're going to watch this replay, I promise you, I know you were absolutely inspired and blessed by what was shared here today. Thank you, Kimberly, so much for coming on and telling your story and sharing about how we can get your book. I got my ebook, but I'm ordering that copy for real. I'm gonna message you like, I need that book. Just tell me where to send the money, okay? Because I need it autographed. But until next time, thank you all for coming on. We'll be back here next Tuesday at the same time on all these same platforms with another great show. It was a pleasure having everyone join us. We were blessed. We were inspired. I cried a little bit, got the tears out the sister, it don't take much. But thank you and blessings to you and everything, you and your family and everything that you do. And you are welcome to come back on here anytime. We have our He Said, She Said at the end of every month, the last Tuesday. So you can come back on and join in our conversation on whatever topic we have. You just got open invitation for that. I'm just going to put that out there right now.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. So we're going to get out of here. You all have an amazing evening, amazing rest of your week. We'll be back here next Tuesday at the same time, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, y'all. Good night.
Good
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, more juicy.